Turning now to weather impacts, seeing that we're still in that comfortable range with the temps.
Yeah, Brittany has more on what we can expect for the rest of the week here. Brittany?
Things are looking fantastic outside. We have a lot of sunshine, temperatures upper 70s and lower 80s across the Charlotte metro. Honestly, today, warmest day of the week so far, but still not too shabby. Still humidity is nice and low. You can see the sun's rays coming in, bouncing off of some of these clouds here that you can see from our Monroe Tower cam. Forecast again overall the next 7 days looks pretty good. Some ebbs and flows here when it comes to the overall humidity, but things were still pretty good today compared to where we typically are this time of year. Satellite and radar products showing a few more clouds, especially east of I-77. That is coming in from the coast as we are still tracking that area of low pressure that did bring us rain and storms over the weekend, but now is still churning just off the coastline, still bringing some rain, some patchy fog, and even some drizzle for areas in Raleigh, Fayetteville, and over toward the immediate coastline. Now for us here in the Queen City, no rain to track, but it is going to be a touch more humid further east you go. So east of 77, places like Rockingham, Wadesboro, Cheraw, a little bit cloudier, a little bit more humid compared to the Piedmont, with of course the coolest and clearest spots still up toward the mountains. So tonight is still in the upper 50s, but we are on a warming trend over the next few days. The average high today actually officially switches over to 84, which will likely be tomorrow and a few times over the next 7 days. But you can very clearly see that there are some warmer days in that near-term forecast, especially late Sunday and into Monday. There will be a few afternoons where we could peak in the mid to upper 80s, but I do still think we'll stay just below that 90-degree threshold. Remember, Friday, which you can see the forecast here is 83, is our average latest 90-degree day of the year. So the further we get closer to, of course, the 12th, and then after that, without seeing 90, the higher chances we do of having no more 90s for the rest of the year. Now, of course, today is also the historic peak of hurricane season. I know you feel like you've probably heard that like a broken record, but it is a peak time period that meteorologists do watch especially closely. The peak of the season essentially means the most active day where we have the most hurricanes and most tropical storms in a normal season. But in the Carolinas, September and October are typically our most busy months overall when it comes to forecasting storms and storms that have impacted us historically. So what does that mean for us? Well, when we forecast, we not only look at what's happening now and what happened in the past, but also what has happened in similar setups in similar years with similar long-range forecasts. So we'll talk more about that in just a second. But next week, mid to late week, we are going to be watching a new tropical wave come off the coast of Africa. And right now it does have a low chance of development. But this is actually very clearly a pattern that we do see late September and early October. The central and western part of the Atlantic is one of our main development regions, what we call it, for this time of year, and also shifting toward the Caribbean and eventually the Gulf. So normally we do see these same spots, areas to watch this time of year. But what makes this year different, and actually 2024 was relatively similar, is that we haven't seen a lot of active storms. So there's a lot of warm ocean water still to work with in the tropical Atlantic basin. So that area I just showed you, we'll be walking right into plenty of 80-degree plus weather. And of course, these areas near the coast and up toward the New England states did have a cool down thanks to Aaron, but we just haven't seen that in quite some time. So warm ocean water temperatures is something that we'll be watching. And then historically, late September and early October is a time of the tropical season that we normally see more instability, which means more fuel for storms to form. And then in 2025, as well as in 2024, there was less wind shear and more dry air in the tropical Atlantic, which is what we've seen, of course, this year too. Now, by the latter half of September and into October, our long-range forecast models indicate that some of that wind shear and dry air will start to dissipate. So again, these are kind of the three big things that we're watching to indicate that the system or the season that itself will likely become a little bit more active, and we still have plenty of time to watch. So again, these are all things that we look for, especially with the current pattern that we do have in place. Again, 2024 was similar in terms of overall conditions at this time. Does that mean something forms? Absolutely not. And does that mean something forms close to us? Absolutely not. It's just these are the patterns and trends that we watch. So while I don't want us to let our guard down because of those reasons, I also want to highlight the fact that it is nice to have a break from tropical development at this time. And of course, we hope it continues, or if anything forms, it stays well offshore. You can trust the WCNC Charlotte weather team to keep you updated all season long. And of course, we will continuously update you on WCNC Plus and all of our different platforms anytime there is that potential for a system to form. Here's your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Very, very nice weather as we look ahead to the next 7 to 10 days, and really nothing else to track across the board.
All right, Brittany, thank you for the heads up. As we continue to track the latest weather conditions, download the WCNC Charlotte mobile app and get hour-by-hour updates from our team of meteorologists. It's free on the App Store and Google Play.